Welcome to Backstories, the podcast where we dig deep into the untold tales behind the people, places, and moments that shape our world. Every month, we'll uncover the hidden narratives that inspire, surprise, and challenge us. So, grab your headphones and get ready to journey into the past, one backstory at a time.
My father was from Northeast Oregon, and and he loved to drive. So we never went on a plane anywhere on any vacation. And consequently, because we're a very competitive pair, he kept a list also. And I have been to 42 states with him because he would purposely plan our routes. So we would go up north and we'd cover all those states, and then we'd come back across the middle, and next time we'd cross down through the bottom. And if we just cut the corner of a state, it counted. Canada, we literally went over the border, turned around, and came right back, which the border people, back in those days, was easier, but they weren't you just here? Yeah, because we just had to check it off our list. And he would plan these trips just to every detail. So everybody remember those AAA triptychs? Yeah, so he always had the triptychs, and they wanted us to enjoy the trip too, so my parents would wake up at like 4:30 in the morning, put us in the car, and that way we would stop driving like at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They would always find a hotel that had a pool, so that, because back in those days we didn't all have pools to go to, and so we thought that was fantastic and made the trip very bearable. And because they would take us out of bed so early in the morning, he very ingeniously, and matter of fact, this just came up on my feed that you can buy these now, but he built a bench that fit across the back seat. So there was, when you sat on the bench, you didn't put your feet down. It was just a place to sleep. And our car didn't have air conditioning, so he bought an aftermarket air conditioner, installed it under the dash, and back in those days, see, there's people of a certain age, you're all going to understand this. We would stop in the middle of the desert on the side of the road, and my mother would get out the cooler with Spam and make Spam and tomato sandwiches because there wasn't a McDonald's or fast food places that you could stop at, right? And we would have little excursions sometimes, and he kept telling us we were going to go see some horses. Like, these were really special horses, and so we were going to go see these horses. And we did. We went and saw these gigantic Clydesdale horses so that we could go to the Budweiser brewery and sample Budweiser. Because back in those days, you didn't get fresh beer. There wasn't craft beer everywhere, right? So that was a big deal. And then we went all the way to Oregon and saw my grandparents that lived in a little tiny town of 350 people. And we were like tourist attraction. Everybody would have to come and see the people from the East Coast. And we would walk to the post office, in town and get our mail. We thought that was so exotic. My grandparents were in a gas station, so we would get to wash windows at the gas station. It was just all very exotic for people that lived in Baltimore. And then on the way back, there was this magical elixir that they made, and it was called Coors. There was no Coors Light. There was only Coors in the gold can, and it was only obtained west of the Rockies, right? And it was made with that special mountain water that made it taste completely different. And so we had to stop at this magical Coors place on the way back, where my father bought cases and cases and cases of Coors that was now stored underneath of this bench in the big wheel wells. Remember those giant trunks we used to have, right? Just every place he could find a spot, there was Coors, because he wanted to bring it back to the East Coast, and then had a big party and invited everybody over so that they could all taste this Coors magical elixir. And it wasn't until much later in life when I grew up, I realized that we were transporting alcohol across state lines, which is not legal, under the guise of these poor sleeping children. But we had fun.